Call to order the regular meeting of the Ascension Parish Council, August 4th, 2022. Would all please rise for the invocation and pledge by Coach Thomas.
Most Heavenly Father, as we come at this hour in the evening, we come, Lord, for no shape, form, or fashion. We come, Lord, tonight to truly say, Lord, we thank you for the many blessings that you bestowed upon each of us. And Father, while I was bowing here tonight, I ask, Lord, that you look over the Rowash Day family, the Gibson family. We had tragedy in our community this week. We ask, Lord, that you bless all the bereaved families all over the land. Father, we ask, Lord, that you continue to bless this parish of Ascension. Bless each and every person under the sound of my voice. Oh, Father, we ask, Lord, that you guide, lead, and direct us in a mighty way, Father. We ask a blessing upon this meeting tonight. We thank you, Lord, for those that have come out tonight. Father, we pray, Lord, that you allow each of us to get home safe and sound to our families as we leave this place tonight. In your name we pray, and we all said, amen.
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 Thank you, Coach. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Under Chair's additions, I just have one announcement to make. And one of our own, Tyrone Smith, is going to be biking across multiple states for multiple sclerosis. It'll take place September the 7th through October 29th this year. It'll be 53 days, and he'll be covering 8 states, a total of 3,070 miles. Let's give him a hand. Thank you, Tyrone.
Thank you.
Under the public comment signing period, if anyone has a comment they'd like to make on an agenda item, fill out a green or red card, present it to the secretary, and when that item comes up on the agenda, you'll be called to speak, or we'll announce what your opinion is on the card if you don't want to speak. Presentations. Mr. President, any? Nope. Okay.
Yeah, Mr.
Parish
Mr.
President's report. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Coach?
No, go ahead. Mr. President.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, council members and residents attending. I'll go ahead and keep my report brief this evening. We have a long agenda to get through. But want to make note this Saturday, August 6th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. We hope everyone will join us for the Ascension for Youth Fest at the WAG Center and Park in Donaldsonville. This is an uplifting and empowering free event for Ascension Parish youth and their families that is being hosted by Ascension Parish government, Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office, the City of Donaldsonville, and numerous community partners. This event will be held rain or shine, let's hope shine, and there will be free food, backpacks, school supplies, entertainment, haircuts, sports physicals, water slides, face painting, and much more. Additional parking is available at the Word of Life Church, which is a quarter of a mile down the road, and a shuttle services will be provided. Please join us Saturday, and it's never too late to sign up as a volunteer to help with the event. And I want to close by thanking Councilman Thomas for his participation and help in putting this event together and leading us in prayer on Saturday. Thank you, Councilman Thomas.
Thank
That
you.
concludes my report, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. President. Moving along, the consent agenda, item 7.
Approval of participation in the Industrial Tax Exemption Program under the Post-Executive Order 2018 Rules for Project Cactus CF Industries Nitrogen LLC. Approval of participation in the Industrial Tax Exemption Program under the Post-Executive Order 2018 Rules for Project Harmony PCS Nitrogen Fertilizer LP. Approval of sublease agreement with Donaldsonville Developments LLC. Approval of amendment number 1 to master contract for professional services between Ascension Parish Government and Resourceful Consulting LLC for the Early Childhood Development Program for an increase in contract amount of $750 to cover additional out-of-pocket expenses. Approval of renewal of participation agreement with St. Bernard Parish Sheriff for the housing of juveniles at the detention center located in St. Bernard Parish, amount based on fee schedule. Approval of cooperative endeavor agreement by and between Ascension Parish Government and Ascension Parish School Board for Parker Road and PR 929 improvements. Approval of cooperative endeavor agreement by and between Ascension Parish Government and Ascension Parish School Board for Cary Lane improvements. Approval to allocate traffic impact fees to the Move Ascension program as detailed in Exhibit A. Approval of Amendment Number 4 to Master Contract for Services between the Ascension Parish Government and Enmont Enterprises LLC doing business as Janiking of Baton Rouge to include an additional 6 locations to the contract through the end of the contract term of 8/18/2022 for an increase in contract amount of an additional $40,098 for a total contract not to exceed amount of $472,121. Approval of renewal of master contract between Ascension Parish Government and Enmont Enterprises LLC doing business as Janiking of Baton Rouge for an additional year through August 18, 2023 for a total contract amount of $965,216. Approval of agreement between Ascension Parish Government and Rebecca Bombay, PMHNPBC, to provide psychiatric and medical services to mental health and substance abuse patients at the Ascension Parish Counseling Center. Approval of Amendment Number 2 to Master Contract for Professional Services between Ascension Parish Government and Thompson Consulting Services for disaster debris monitoring and related services for an increase in contract amount for an additional $250,000. Approval of Amendment Number 7 to Master Contract for Professional Services between Ascension Parish Government and McKim and Creed LLC for utilities, general engineering, and technical support services to extend original contract term an additional year through August 3rd, 2023. This amendment only extends the term of the contract and does not affect the contract price. Approval of change order number 3 for the Lamar Dixon Expo Center gym expansion for additional scope of work and additional time. Amount of increase $35,525.50 for a total contract amount of $3,074,956. Bid results and approval to enter into contract with the lowest responsive bid in the amount of $59,988 submitted by Durable Piling Restoration LLC for Casey Road Bridge repair. Approval of Amendment Number 1 to Master Contract for Professional Services between Ascension Parish Government and Gulf South Engineering for geotechnical testing to increase the total project budget amount by an additional $150,000 for a total project budget amount of $450,000. Approval of Amendment Number 1 to Master Contract for Professional Services between Ascension Parish Government and the Beta Group Engineering and Construction Services LLC for geotechnical testing to increase the total project amount by an additional $150,000 for a total project budget amount of $450,000. The items R through BB are all the same wording with different consultants, so I'm going to read the wording and then just list them. Amendment Number 7 to Master Contract for Professional Services for engineering design and related services for Move Ascension to extend the term through August 1st, 2023 in order to complete all current projects with no additional task assigned. This amendment will also increase the total budget $15 million shared by 11 firms. And the firms are Burt Kleinpeter, Buchard Horn, Evans Graves, Hartman Engineering, McKim and Creed, Meyer Engineers, Neil Schaefer, Shred Kirkendall, SJB Group, T. Baker Smith, and Bokert. That brings us through CC on consent agenda. Approval for a reduction of the speed limit on Calcote Road from 35 miles per hour to 25 miles per hour. Approval of the addition of a project into the Move Ascension program for the installation of 2 street lights to be installed on Coontrap Road, LA Highway 938, along the curve near where Toby Road and Sweet Bay Lane intersect with Coontrap Road. Approval of roads included in Task Order 2 of the 2020 Reconstruction and Overlay Improvements, Master Contract ENG 20012. Approval of transportation items to be included in the resolution by council regarding spending of American Rescue Plan Act ARPA funding. Approval to put a home rule charter amendment on the ballot for a vote of the people to limit the terms of the Ascension Parish Council and the Ascension Parish President to 3 4-year terms. Resolution to request an Attorney General's opinion on levying fines for any council member censured by a vote of the council. Approval of recreation items to be included in resolution by council regarding spending of American Rescue Plan Act ARPA funding.
At this time, does any council member wish to remove an item from consent item to put on the general business agenda for further consideration?
I do, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Councilman Melanson.
Items 7GG and 7HH, I would like to remove for discussion, please.
Okay, just let me get this organized here. Under general business, item GG will now become item G under general business. And item HH will now become item H under general business.
Chair, if it's all right with Councilman Melanson, I'm okay with removing HH from the agenda because
Let's have a unanimous sentiment. Can we do that?
We can remove it from consent, and then somebody can make a motion to
Okay.
not
We've got,
accept
right now,
it.
we're just putting it from consent into general. When we address it, we can,
That's fine.
we can make that motion.
Yes, sir.
Councilman Ogeron.
I would like for us to move agenda item C. And M.
Okay, C will become I. Okay,
M.
M will become J.
And N.
N is in
N is in
November.
Nancy.
N will become K. Got that, Madam Secretary? You remind me when we get there? Okay. All right. The consent agenda has been read. Chair will entertain a motion to move the consent agenda and approve it with the amended, moved by Councilwoman Cazzo, second by Councilman Melanson. Any further discussion? Any objection? There being none, that motion carries. Next, we have item 9, which is planning and zoning recommendations. Oh, 8. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped over general business. Adoption of updated Capital Region Area Floodplain Task Force Multi-Jurisdictional Program for Public Information. Ms. Marcia Shivers.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is just the updated version of the Capital Region Multi-Jurisdictional PPI program, and this is where communities Ascension, Denham Springs, Baton Rouge, Zachary, and East Baton Rouge, we all get together and come up with ideas for flood insurance promotions. So this is a general update that we're going to reach out now to the Rotary clubs and the businesses here in Ascension Parish are 2 new people that we're going to start reaching out for flood insurance promotion.
Motion to approve, sir.
Second.
Got a motion to approve by Councilwoman McCaskill, second by Councilman Melanson. I just have a question, Marcia.
Yes.
I saw where the rates are gonna decrease because of our new rating.
Yes,
Will that
Ascension
take effect
Parish
in
will be going from a
2023?
class 8 to a class 7. So beginning October the 1st, 2022, Ascension Parish will start receiving a 15% flood insurance premium discount.
Fantastic. We applaud you for that.
Thank you. Great job.
Good job. Thank you so much. All right, item B, approval of request for a waiver of the commercial sewer development fee of $171,437 for the new Prairieville High School at 40070 Parker Road, Prairieville.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Cazzo, second by Councilman Lambert. Councilman Robert.
so I guess my question is, why are we giving the school board $170,000?
When we impose these fees, we,
Well, no, I understand, but I mean, why are we not charging them the fee, I guess?
when we created the fees, we waived schools. They just They're just requesting that we approve what we approved back when we created the fees.
So when we, it's in the literature of creating the fees that we said that?
What's that?
So this actually is said when we created those fees? It's documented?
If I'm not mistaken, is Jerome here?
And I mean, I don't have an issue with helping the school, anything like that, but I mean, we have a budget and they have a budget. And they're both,
Jerome, please.
Yeah, we've been waiving the fees for all of the subdivisions. You know, they've been coming before you, and we've been waiving the fees that we've been collecting for subdivisions. This is an extension of it to the high school, right? Mainly because we've been collecting fees, been going into a pot, and to be used for sewer infrastructure. But now that we're turning the sewer, you know, infrastructure apparatus that we own to a separate entity, we're no longer in need of the fees, right? So this is just an extension of what we've been doing to the subdivision.
so we're not gonna be collecting sewage impact fees or any of these fees from anyone from now on?
We haven't been. We've been waiving them, yes. And the ordinance requires the council to basically waive the fees. They have to come before you in order to get approval to waive the fees. So that's what this is.
That's all I have.
Okay. Thank you. Any other discussion? Any objection to the motion? There being none, the motion carries. Item C, resolution in support of the parish proceeding with transportation and recreation projects funded by the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Mason, second by Councilwoman Cazzo. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. Item D, resolution ordering and calling for a special election to be held in the parish of Ascension, state of Louisiana, on Saturday, December 10th, 2022, for the purpose of authorizing the renewal of a 1.5 mil tax on assessment valuation of all property subject to taxation in the parish for the period of 10 years for the purpose of paying costs of programs for the elderly citizens of the parish to be administered by the parish through the Council on Aging, including services, operations, capital improvements, equipment, and other lawful expenses related thereto, and further making application to the State Bond Commission for consent and authorization to hold the aforesaid election, and further providing other matters in connection with therewith.
Motion.
Motion by
Second.
Dempsey, second by Coach. Any discussion? Any objection? There being
So,
none,
Chairman
the motion passes.
Cagnolotti, for some reason, bond counsel asked for me to read this again after you read it on the agenda. I have to read this one and the next one. It's
Okay.
supposed to be read into the public record.
Okay. Madam Secretary.
A resolution ordering and calling a special election be held in the parish of Ascension, state of Louisiana, on Saturday, December 10th, 2022, for the purpose of authorizing the renewal of 1.5 mil tax on assessed valuation of all property subject to taxation in the parish for a period of 10 years for the purpose of paying costs of programs for the elderly citizens of the parish to be administered by the parish through the Council on Aging, including services, operations, capital improvements, equipment, and other lawful expenses related thereto, and further make an application to the State Bond Commission for consent and authorization to hold the aforesaid election, and further providing for other matters in connection therewith.
Okay, now, let's take a motion. Motion by
Second.
Michael, second by Terry. Any objection? There being none, motion carries. Madam Secretary, please read the next paragraph, please.
Resolution ordering and calling a special election be held in the road lighting district number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and number 6 of the parish of Ascension, state of Louisiana, on Saturday, December 10th, 2022, for the purpose of authorizing the renewal of a 5 mil tax on valuation of all, on assessed valuation of all property subject to taxation in each of the districts for a period of 2 years for the purpose of providing and maintaining electric lights on the streets, roads, highways, alleys, and public places in the districts, and further make an application to the State Bond Commission for consent and authorization to hold the aforesaid election, and further providing for other matters in connection therewith.
Second.
Motion by Coach, second by Terry. Any objection? Any further discussion? There being none, motion carries. Item F, approval of Riverplex Megapark Economic Development District Plan. Lisa Laws will be here to answer any questions you may have, and she'll make a little presentation.
And I'll second Coach's motion.
Did I get a motion?
Yeah, from Coach.
Coach, got a motion from Coach, second by Chase. Any discussion? Any objection? There being none, motion carries. Thank you, Lisa. Okay, we go to 8G.
7G becomes G.
That's 8G. 8G becomes former GG under consent. Approval to put a home rule charter amendment on the ballot for a vote of the people to limit the terms of the Ascension Parish Council and Ascension Parish President to 3 4-year terms. Any discussion?
Oh, yeah, okay. There's no attachment on, it. So what election are we thinking? Is there a date in mind, or if I remember correctly, at one of the strategics, there was a little attachment, and it would take effect January 1st of 2024.
I think if they could get it on the ballot
Right.
before then.
So, I guess my question would be, and I don't even know if Kenneth can answer this or who would answer it. Is there any way that we could put this on the same ballot in October of 2023 that coincides with governor, parish president, and council? And I'm not usually in favor of the argument of the off-cycle elections, but on something on a home rule charter change, me personally, I would prefer it be on one of our major election cycles. So at this point, I'd like to make a motion is to get with legal and see if this is on October 2023 election. Can it still take place January 1st of 2024?
Be enacted.
Right, being, that, the administration and the next council, whoever, will take office after it's passed, so I think it could still take place, but I would rather this be on that ballot than, a ballot at the end of this year.
Second.
Yeah, I've got a substitute motion by Councilman Malonzo.
Right, to get with legal, make sure that if it takes place October 23, it can still take effect January 24. And once we get that answer, we can bring it back, and I'm
I'll
happy to
second that.
entertain.
Do we need to
amended
wait for
motion.
the answer, or can we just put it on the on the 2023 election?
Well, the reason I ask, because if we put it on October 23, and for some reason it doesn't take effect January 2024, and let's say the voters approve it, right? So we're going to have a term that's not going to count towards the 3-term limit.
We want to get an
I
opinion.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that 3-month gap is going to be okay, for it to actually take place. Okay.
Is there any reason that wouldn't be okay? I mean, that's normal for legislation not to take place until a specific date, right?
Sometimes, yes.
Yeah.
But let me research it and I'll give you a definite answer within a couple of days.
Joe,
Okay,
there
Councilwoman
are
Cazzo.
special rules regarding the elections.
Corey, she was first, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you
Councilwoman
pointed
Cazzo.
at me. I apologize.
So if you don't want to do that, then you don't, I mean, I don't see why we need to put this to another meeting when we can just say, if we can put it on that election, put it on that election. If not, then we'll do what we can do. Is that going to change anyone's vote on whether or not they can support it? Because I'm all for putting it on that specific election.
Oh, yeah.
So
It
they can
could
be
change my
enforced
vote.
on the 1st of January. Mr. President.
Thank you, Chair. And obviously, the language in here includes the parish president's office, so I kind of wanted to chime in here a little bit. I have spoken to some of you, not all of you, about term limits, so I wanted to express my feeling. Looking at what it takes and watching coming in office in January of 2020 and working through this with a lot of the new councilmen and talking and leaning on a lot of the older councilmen that have been here. Term limits, obviously, you could have the situation where we had at the state legislature where you lose institutional knowledge. You got fresh people constantly coming in, especially if term limits are too short. And you lose a certain amount of institutional knowledge for those guys that are, or gals just coming in to learn. lean on some of those that have been in these positions before. With that being said, we are all termed every 4 years, and it is up to our elected body, which is the citizens of Ascension Parish, to decide whether they want us to represent them or not. So there's a double-edged sword here. There are support for term limits so that you don't have what we quote call career politicians, I assume. And then it is a situation where you create term limits and you stop the citizens from allowing them to select who they want to be represented by. So to find a balance there, I would like to make a suggestion to this body that 4-year, 4 terms, which would be 16 in total. Many of you know you spend your first term just learning the process, and that takes time. I know it's taken time for me and my administration. I can only imagine the same has been for you. So I'd like you to consider 4-year terms if you're considering term limits in that frame, so that we have some of that institutional knowledge. Even though we expect some turnover, at least we have some senior representatives on this council to allow for that knowledge to be carried on from each election cycle.
I'd like to make a substitute amendment or substitute motion.
Mr. Robert, I was going to acknowledge Ms. Cazzo first.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I look forward to Mr. Robert's motion, but I would also like to echo some of the comments of the parish president. I agree that we are all term limited to the terms that our constituents desire for us to serve. I do know that I've been here 12 years by the time I finish up in 2023, and there are projects that were initiated in my district early in my terms that I would love to see to fruition, but probably will not be here long enough to see that, because as everyone knows, it's not my intention to run again. I'll just ask for an invitation to the ribbon cuttings. But I would like to propose, and see where it goes with this body, that we defer this discussion, and that in the meantime, we would ask the administration to assist us to coordinate some workshops in which we could all discuss our concerns, our feelings about how this ought to be handled, and then move forward from there. This can come back to us in a few weeks with a little more meat on it, and after some more consideration of all of our thoughts. The Strategic Planning Committee prominently pushed this forward just to get it moving, just to get to the discussion started. So I don't feel any great sense of urgency to deal with this. It would give Kenneth time to get the answers to Councilman Mawson's questions. It would give us time to listen to the parish president, to talk amongst ourselves about what we see, and perhaps even having had this discussion, have some representatives of the community share with us what their thoughts are. So I'm going to make a motion that we defer this.
I will withdraw my motion, and I'll second Ms. Cazzo's.
Okay.
Thank you.
We have an amended motion, a substitute motion in this case, to defer it to next strategic planning meeting for further discussion and get some answers from legal counsel. Councilman Robert.
Not back to strategic planning, back to here.
Back to the council, I'm sorry.
I'd like to
Amend
make
back to the
a
council.
second substitute motion to change from the 3 terms to a maximum of 4 4-year terms. Put in that language, I'd like to add that they cannot be consecutive. Meaning at one point in time, you have to take a break between 2 terms. So you can have 3 consecutive terms and that's it. And then you can take a break and do the 4th term. Now, the reason I'm going to offer that substitute motion, as I do see each and every one of your perspectives and points, I think there's a lot to them. This is the second time we brought it before the council, and we seem to have the same discussions. The first point that I do want to address is that we don't have the time and we don't have the institutional knowledge to carry out and to be able to perform the task that the parish has. And we, as a council and the parish president, have put before and started within the parish. that, as Councilwoman Cazzo said, is pretty much impossible no matter how many terms you have. I mean, you're always gonna have ongoing projects. And who are we to question the competence of whomever's coming next into our place? I mean, why would we say that they are not capable of carrying out the plans, just like we were saying? Secondly, leaving it to the people to decide. That's why we are making a vote to put it on the poll for a vote of the people, so they can decide if they want term limits. There are several reasons term limits should be put in place. Number one, that institutional knowledge that you talk about also becomes doing things the same old way, not using new ideas. It becomes using the same firms, using the same services, using the same vendors. And then we all can look at the facts, because there are facts and statistics that prove any incumbent running against someone for any council position or any position is going to have an enormous advantage over any new coming opponent. There's statistics and facts to prove that. 12 years is a lot. I'm offering 16 years. 16 years, I'm only asking for one term break, and the reason I'm asking for that one term break is to kind of give more of a chance for someone who wants to come in and run against that particular person. Because after that 3 years, somebody else will have an opportunity. And then they can come back later on and have some introspective, or they can see from the outside in after already being on the inside out. So coming back to help. Thirdly, I'd like to point out that this isn't the end of service to community. I think that serving our community is a great thing. I think it's a great thing for many people to do, but it's not stuck at council or parish president. Any one of us could run for parish president and serve another 3 years after that. We could also run for state legislature. Parish president could run for council. We could look at state senate. We could go to U.S. Congress. I mean, we should move our service around. You're talking about 16 years, but another 12 years there, 8 years there. So in that dynamic, you're bringing a passion for your parish that you just spent 3 terms for to the state government, so you can help us more. You're able to push and to share that institutional knowledge of the parish government to the state and vice versa, so you can help each other. So yeah, that's my last substitute motion, to change it from 3 terms to 4 terms and have 1 break.
So you're offering an amended motion to Councilwoman Casso's motion?
Subsecond substitute.
Substitute motion, how would that wording be?
The substitute motion would be that the parish president and the council are limited to 4 4-year terms. Only 3 consecutive terms are allowed. And then I would like to put this on the election of, the same election as the parish president and the parish council.
Okay. I'll just offer a comment here. We've talked about this in depth, and I think Councilwoman Caswell has a good idea. This is not urgent. You know, the election's October of 2023, which is more than a year away. We have time to talk about it more, discuss it more. I like her idea, but since you did make a substitute motion, does anyone want to second that motion? Coach? You second?
Second.
All right. Substitute motion is to have 4 terms interrupted by 3 consecutive terms, and then they'd have to wait another term before they can serve another 4-year term.
And when I say that, I do want it to be clear. I say it can't be more than 3 consecutive terms, but you can do 1 term, then take a break, then do 3. You can do 2 terms, take a break, do 2. I'm just saying it can't be 4 in a row. And
Can't
that's
be
how it's
4
worded.
consecutive
Yes.
terms. Okay. Everybody understand the motion?
I'm going to object, sir.
Yeah, I object as
We got an objection. Roll call vote, Madam Secretary.
Councilman Thomas.
Yes.
Councilman Robert.
Yes.
Councilman Turner. No. Councilman Orgeron.
No.
Councilman Lambert. No. Councilman Molossaw. Councilman Wagasback.
No.
Councilman Mason.
No.
Chairwoman, Vice Chairwoman Casso.
No.
Chairman Cagnolotti.
No. Okay, that motion did not carry, it failed, so we'll address Councilwoman Cazzo's motion to defer this back to the council next month.
Yes, and I would like to, and it also includes some discussions
Input.
with parish president, with the council members in a workshop of some form that the administration will lead.
I'll second that motion.
All right, we got a motion by Councilwoman Cazzo, second by Councilman Robert. Any further discussion? Councilman Wagasback.
So are we deferring it to this meeting next month, or to the next council meeting? Or to the second meeting next month?
Second
Second
meeting
meeting
next
next
month,
month.
Okay, so 6 weeks from now.
6
Right.
weeks.
Next council meeting.
Okay.
Next council meeting
In Gonzales.
in September in Gonzales, correct?
Correct.
Get the wording right.
Because I won't be here at the first one in September.
Is there any objection to that motion? There being none, that motion carries. Okay. Now we go to formerly item HH, which is now item H under general business. Resolution.
I would like to
request
make a
attorney
motion, I'd like to make a motion against this,
Well, I can, like I said, whenever it came to it, I'll remove this from the agenda. It shouldn't have been on there when it was on strategic planning. We didn't even cover it. We said, never mind, don't worry about it. So it shouldn't have been put here as a.
I'd like to make a motion to remove from the agenda.
Second.
Got a motion to remove it from the agenda. A second. Any objections? There being none, item H, formerly HH, is removed from the agenda. Now, we go back to item C, under consent becomes item G under general business. Approval of sublease agreement with Donsonville Development LLC, Beeland and Building, John Diaz, Bill Dawson, project managers.
Yes, I've got a question for legal. Yesterday, I did a little research with Secretary of State and saw that Donaldsonville Developments LLC was not in good standing with the Secretary of State as of yesterday. I'm not sure if they've gotten themselves back in state, in good standing. Maybe Mr. Diaz can answer that question for us. But can we enter into an agreement with the company that could essentially be defunct by not being in good standing with the Secretary of State? I don't know if we can.
Well, real quick, before you, I checked yesterday, they are in good standing, and Kevin Kelly is here. I actually
Are
took
they?
a picture, I can forward it to anyone. In fact, I think I sent it to Chase, so they are in good standing as of yesterday.
Well, that's good.
So,
That's good to hear. Can we see, because I know when I looked at it, it was not.
I'll text it to you.
But if you can, motion on that. So, I mean, I don't have an objection to entering into it. My concern was that they may not have been in good standing. I'm guessing you're looking at the Secretary of State's
Yes.
website? Good. I would love to know how to do it on mine.
Yep, active and in good standing.
Active and in good standing?
Yep.
Fantastic, good. I'll move that we move forward with this.
Got a motion
With this
to, motion to approve, item I, second by Coach. Any objection? There being none, that motion carries. Next, we got item M, which now becomes item J in general business, approval of amendment number 7 to master contract for professional services between Ascension Parish Government and McKim Creed for utilities, general engineering, and technical support services to extend original contract term for an additional year through August 3rd, 2023. This amendment only extends the term of the contract and does not affect the contract price. Is Carl here? Someone who can speak on this? What's your question?
I got a question for the president, if he's willing, if he's able to come up. And I'm curious, do we have a utilities director yet?
No, we're in the process. Get to the mic.
Yeah, please. My hearing is shot. I can't hear you
So we're
from that
here,
far away.
we're interviewing 5 people now, so we've narrowed it down to 5.
So we're in that process of
yeah.
getting someone?
Yeah.
Is there any problem with deferring this until the new utilities director has an opportunity to review the contract and see if that is in the best interest of the parish?
Yeah, so part of this contract deals with the intake structure to Donsonville and Bayou Lafourche. And we don't control the timeline of that because the Bayou Lafourche Freshwater District does. And so we have to work under their timeframe. And so, no, we prefer not to defer it because we don't know what the timeframe is going to turn out to be.
When does their current contract end?
Nah, I have to check. I don't have it in front of me.
Motion.
Second.
Motion to approve by Coach, second by Chase.
Objection.
Any objection?
Objection.
One objection. Roll call vote, Madam Secretary.
Councilman Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Robert,
Yes.
Councilman Turner,
Yes.
Councilman Orgeron,
Nope.
Councilman Lambert,
Yes.
Councilman Molossaw,
Yes.
Councilman Wagisback,
Yes.
Councilman Mason,
Yes.
Councilwoman Casso,
Yes.
Chairman Cagnalotti.
Yes. And motion carries. Next.
N became K.
What is it?
N became K.
M became.
N.
N?
N is in nice.
Passed it up. Okay. Item N became K on general business. Approval of a change order number 3 for Lamar Dixon Expo Center gym expansion for additional scope of work, additional time. Amount of the increase, $35,525.50 for a total contract amount of $3,074,956.
Mr. Chair, I had a chance to speak with Ricky Compton just prior, and I added this one too, but I should have pulled it off. Mr. Compton satisfied my questions regarding the purposes behind the expansion and the extension of time. My understanding is that they're going to be cleaning and examining the basketball, the court, the floor itself.
Right.
And so if that's the case, I'm good with this. I move that we push this one forward.
Got a motion from Councilwoman, second by, who was that? Coach?
Joel?
Any other discussion? Any objection? That motion carries. Does that cover general business?
It does.
It does. Okay, folks. Now we're on item 9. Planning and zoning recommendations, zoning review, PZ 2886.22, track E1 for Britco LLC, located on the north side of LA 30, approximately 1,300 feet west of Airline Highway, to amend the Ascension Parish zoning map from rural to mixed-use corridors, mixed use, to accept or deny the recommendation of the zoning commission to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Moved to accept by Councilwoman Cazzo, second by Councilman Malonson. Any objection? There being none, that motion carries. Item 10, committee recommendations. Personnel committee recommendations, Chairman Cazzo.
The Personnel Committee met on July 27th, 2022. Interviews were conducted, and the following recommendations are made. To appoint to Fire District 2 for a 3-year term, Gregory Walker. He's a new appointment replacing Wellington Johnson.
Second.
Got a motion from Coach, second from Joel. Any objection? There being none, motion carries.
To the Ascension Parish Library Board for a 5-year term, Sandy Scallon is reappointed.
Motion.
Motion by Dempsey, second by Michael. Any objection? There being none, that motion carries. Right, next one?
To the Economic Development Board for a 3-year term, Roger Keese is reappointed.
Motion by Joel,
Second.
second by Michael. Any objection? There being none, that motion's approved. Okay, item 11. Before we get
Chair.
into this.
Chair. Mr. Kay, on the AEDC board, she told me to remind you, if you just acknowledge Mr. Don Hannah,
Oh, I will. Thank you so much,
his term
James.
on the board, and he
Appreciate that.
decided to.
We had another opening, AEDC board, and a gentleman, Don Hannah, who's been serving on that board for many, many years. He's got a background of real estate. He knows, I mean, everybody in the parish just about, and a lot about the land of the parish and the way we grow, and he's witnessed it from an early adulthood to now. And initially, he reapplied, and the night that we did the interviews, I was chairing the meeting. Terry was out of town, so I chaired the meeting. We called him, and he said he had decided that he was not going to pursue getting reassigned. So we're going to re-advertise and take applications for the AEDC board. But I just wanted to acknowledge, thank you, Chase, for reminding me that Don served the parish, got paid nothing, and was unbelievably involved in decision-making and brought up some tremendous ideas to help us with our economic growth. So I want to acknowledge Don and thank him for his service. Thank you, Chase. Okay. Item 11, introduction of ordinances. And what I want to do here is make an announcement to kind of inform the public of how this works. All of these items under Section 11, introduction of ordinances, we're simply going to read the introduction of the ordinance, and then there will be a motion to introduce. There will be no discussion. We will not vote on these items tonight. None of these items will be voted on, not one. If they're introduced, if a motion is made by any council member to introduce them, they'll be on the agenda for the 18th, I think it is, Cinnamon, August 18th meeting in Gonzales, at which time all items that were introduced will be vetted, fully vetted. There'll be an opportunity for people to come speak on those. We have an opportunity as a council to amend the ordinance as introduced before we vote on it, and then the vote will take place at that meeting, unless it's suspended and moved forward.
They can speak to it.
But if you came and you intended to speak tonight, after knowing that what I just told you, we'll certainly call you up. You'll have 3 minutes to speak, and we'll acknowledge what you have to say. Okay? Item A, introduction of an ordinance to declare certain movable assets as surplus items by the Finance Committee recommendation. Motion by Councilman Mason to introduce. Item B, introduction of an ordinance to amend the Ascension Parish Unified Land Development Code Appendix XII fees to include fence permit fees of $25.
Motion to introduce.
Motion by Councilman Melanson to introduce. Item C, introduction of an ordinance to accept the donation and transfer of the title of a 1985 Spartan L-10 Rescue Unit from the Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office to the Parish of Ascension Fire District 1.
Motion.
Motion by Dow Wagisback to introduce. Item D, introduction of an ordinance to regulate the sale and use of kratom in the Parish of Ascension.
Sir, you have many comments that many folks who desire to speak.
Okay.
Desire to speak, excuse me.
Motion by Councilman Lambert. We have a number of speakers, I think.
Yes. Quite a number. I think I've gotten this.
Okay. Tiffany Cooper. What we would ask you to do is identify yourself, your name, address.
Sure. How you doing? Tiffany Cooper, 10617 Airline Highway in Gonzales. So I'm coming today because I was asked to come as a person who's used kratom before, and I also work in at the Grove Recovery Center. I am in addiction recovery for 2.5 years almost. I've seen the ravaging of this drug, as well as I've seen the benefits of it when it's used in the right way. But unfortunately, I've seen many children in different high schools and things like that coming to our facility at the Grove. I'm a part of the Lifehouse as well that deal with this because it is not regulated. There are 3 different strands of it, and it can be used in the right way if people have the education for it, but that's not what it's being used for. So asking for it to be banned is very important for what we're dealing with already with our drugs, addiction, mental health, and everything that we're dealing with right now. As a person that used to use it, I know how deadly it's been for my health, and getting off of it. A lot of people have gone to street drugs to get off of kratom itself.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay? Thank you.
Appreciate it. I guess Lyle Council. I'm sorry, Melissa Vidrine. Melissa Vidrine.
She's coming.
She's coming, okay.
So, good evening. My name is Melissa Vadrine, and I'm a Louisiana resident. On February 21st, 2021, my son Daniel died from acute metrogene toxicity, kratom. This was the sole cause of death. Daniel was 26 years old and married with 2 young children. Although the American Kratom Association would like you to think the kratom industry is transparent, there is a lack of transparency by manufacturers and distributors. A majority of these companies do not list an address or a phone number on their packaging or on their websites. They only provide a Contact Us form to submit online. It is surprising what a person needs to do to locate and find contact information for these so-called companies, which may lead you to another country on another continent, or it can lead you to a small house in a subdivision. The labeling on a majority of the products indicates botanical specimen not for human consumption. However, it is being sold in powder capsules and extracts, and being added to some food products, candy and beverages. Yesterday, I went to a local smoke shop in my area and picked up a $25 bottle of MIT 45 extract. It was about 3 inches. When I asked the store clerk if it was 1 serving, he indicated yes. I asked to see the bottle and read the back, and the writing was very small. So I took a photo to enlarge, and the bottle indicated average reported usage amount 3 per bottle. It also indicated extract can be more powerful than whole leaf kratom powder. The young man asked what I needed it for. I said sleep, and he handed me a package of OPMS Black, 2 capsules, $29. I posed a question on the Kratom Danger Awareness Facebook group this morning, which has families who lost a family member, friend, and those who have struggled with kratom dependence. I asked how much was being spent on kratom when using. Here are some responses. $500 to $600 weekly, I would sell things. It's like a drug addict trying to scavenge for money. Another person stated, I knew I blew through $4,300 in a span of a month on extracts. Lost my job, almost went to prison. My son was spending about $55 to $60 every few days. Kratom is not a dietary supplement. The kratom industry claims their product to be a food. Advocates of kratom indicate it is a solution to the opioid epidemic, and it helps with a multitude of health problems. They tout it as a miracle plant. If it is a miracle plant, why is it being sold in gas stations and smoke shops? The kratom being sold across the United States is a toxic substance and has been responsible or partially responsible for significant health issues and deaths. There is a difference between the raw plant leaf and leaves processed and sold in our communities. Kratom is a public health and safety problem and will only get worse. Until kratom can be proven safe and the industry is more transparent, I ask that you ban kratom in Ascension Parish. It has been said Ascension Parish leads and others follow. I hope this to be true.
Thank you, ma'am.
Chair, and I just wanted to announce, anyone that does have anything written can submit it for public record by giving a copy to the secretary up here, and it will be in the record.
All righty, thank you. Paul G. Landry.
Good afternoon. I'm Paul Landry. I'm from Iberia Parish. I serve on the Iberia Parish Council, so I appreciate what you guys do and go through. As I was looking up some information and addresses, I see y'all have 12 members. That's a lot. We have 14, and we only have half of y'all population, so and y'all consent agendas, we don't do that much in 2 months. I've been selling kratom for probably about 4 years now. And on the way over here, I was watching a little video of the sheriff, you know, and some of the individuals speaking and things. And in our area, because I can't speak for y'all's, it's just not a problem. It's the people I see come are using it for relief and pain. Some of it's for energy and things like that. My brother worked at the highest levels of the federal government with the General Accounting Office. And the pharmaceutical companies just drove him bananas all the time because they made so much money and they were so powerful. So I didn't know if it was going to end up being that they would be behind some of this and stuff. It's an item that I see a lot of people come, and I never see it abused. We watch everything that goes on. The very first guy came, bent down and was reading it. I asked him if he knew anything about it, which I didn't know a lot at that time. He said he had been in a motorcycle accident 2 years before, and he had gotten hooked on opioids. And his friends saw the path he was taking, so they got him on the kratom, and he said he was able to wean himself off of it and survive. And periodically he comes and he keeps some for when he has a bad day and things. Second lady was telling me that she was a heroin addict, and she said that if she hadn't got on kratom that she would be dead today. And I still see her about every 10 days coming by, and just has some for pain and issues and stuff like that. I know there's a lot of anything that gets abused, can go the wrong way with it and stuff, but when I saw y'all were addressing it, I just wanted to come hear what everybody had to say, and I know y'all got a tough issue. Everybody comes from different backgrounds, and we have to vote on things sometimes that we don't know a whole lot, so you got to do a lot of research. And so, anyway, I appreciate everything y'all do, and thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is it Clayton Langlois?
Good evening. My name is Clayton Langlois, and I'm a Louisiana resident. I just wanted to share my experience with Kratom, with the board. I've recently struggled with addiction after injury, and excuse me. And I did wean myself off, and I was addicted to opiates, to different types of pills for a very long time. I believe it was 12 years, and I was able to get sober and clean from that. But I didn't drink, I didn't do anything. But one day I was in a store to get an energy drink. I was actually at a crawfish ball, and everybody was drinking. So when I went in there, I saw the OPMS Kratom, the black, like the lady was talking about, and I bought it. I purchased it, not thinking it was going to do much. And I took one single pill of the extract, and it made me feel exactly like I guess you would call it Percocet, Lortab, Norco, even Oxycontin, did the exact same thing. And this is coming from someone who can tell you as much as a pharmacist can about prescription pain pills. I took it and was immediately addicted. I will admit that I do have a very addictive personality. I have a lot of trouble with that. I have to go to rehab several times over opiates, but the Kratom did exactly the exact same thing as Oxycontin, and Percocet, same thing. I took one single pill. A year later, I was taking 15 pills at a time. I was spending $300 a day. I make a very good living. I made over $100,000 and barely paid my bills. Completely ruined my relationship with a good woman. I'm in shambles today. I'm actually staying at Lifehouse right now because of it. And I wouldn't want my kids to walk in the store. They don't regulate it. They don't. I actually tested positive for fentanyl, and that's the only thing, as God is my witness, the only thing that I was taking was Kratom, and I tested positive for fentanyl. Now, opposition will tell you that it's good, and like the lady said, it can be used in the right way, but put in the hands of somebody, I'm sorry to say, but like myself, it can be abused and ruin more lives than just mine. My family has suffered, a lot of individuals around me, It's pretty simple to me. I mean, I hope I'm not too forward by saying this, but the council, if y'all hear our statements, and you're more than welcome to stop by the corner store or the vape shop and pick it up for yourself and try it, And I promise you that the effects of it will have you, like you drank a six-pack, something like that. It will have you nodding out, it will have you disoriented, it will have you slurring your speech to where everybody around you will know that you have taken a narcotic drug. It is not something that I would want anybody I love to do, It's ruined my life pretty much at this point. Thank you, that's all I got.
Thank you, sir. Paul Schick-Snyder.
Good afternoon. There was a time in my life when I couldn't keep a job. I was in and out of rehab. I lost many years of my life suffering from anger issues and PTSD from the tours in Afghanistan. I even lost my family, my wife, my kids, and I couldn't stand to be the person I was. I went to many rehabs, and I was just pushed more drugs by the VA. About 1 year ago, I heard about Kratom from a coworker who said it has turned his life around from alcoholism to a great family man and oil field worker. I turned away from alcohol and prescription medications and tried Kratom. Kratom changed my life. Kratom changed my life almost immediately, and I stand here in front of you today with my family by my side and as the supervisor for Turner Industries. Kratom doesn't destroy lives, it saves them. Actually, the only thing that ruined my life was alcohol and the rehabs that pushed Big Pharma medications, which then spiraled into other things, which is the true issue at hand. But Big Pharma wants you to have a grip on, Big Pharma wants to have a grip on everything, keeping people in and out of rehabs, relying on their drugs, exploiting their weaknesses and addiction for monetary gain. A lot of things are said that are made up and not true. And so let's talk about what Kratom actually is. It's absolutely 100% natural. It derives from our earth and contains nothing synthetic. What Big Pharma pushes is the true synthetic, lab-created, then pushed on people, coined as modern medicine. Despite known devastating and addictive effects it has on all its consumers, they aren't scared that Kratom might be dangerous because it clearly isn't. It's an herbal supplement. The real issue is everything that Big Pharma pushes, such as pain pills, Oxycontin, Roxycontin, fentanyl, which is the true synthetic heroin. Then once you're hooked on that, you end up in rehab where they push Suboxone and methadone, which is extremely addictive in itself. And who creates this? Big Pharma. Kratom shouldn't be on trial. Big Pharma should. The rehabilitation programs are failing, and the doctor-prescribed treatments are not working. So I think as a community, we need to truly reevaluate and figure a new way of handling these issues at hand. So I will end this on a key note: how many lives are being destroyed by alcohol and these Big Pharma drugs that people are truly addicted to, that are sold in this parish. Kratom does not need to be banned, and Kratom does great things for myself and my family. I have no urge to drink alcohol or use synthetic substance. I am no longer dealing with PTSD, and I have excelled in my family and my work life, and all Kratom helps me to be the best functioning member of society. And I want to thank y'all.
Thank you, sir. Angelina Daniels. Ms. Daniels? Not here. Colin Nickel?
My name is Colin Nickel. I am the Ascension Parish representative to the State Central Committee of the Libertarian Party of Louisiana. I use Kratom. I know numerous people that use Kratom. It's not addictive. We have an opioid problem in this country. Kratom absolutely helps people getting off of opiates. It helps with the detoxification. I will say alcohol will absolutely kill you if misused. Tobacco will kill you. Ibuprofen will kill you if misused. Kratom's not the problem. It is fascism and tyranny to outlaw things we disapprove of. Stop banning things.
Thank you, sir. Bobby LeBlanc?
Mr. Chairman, members of the council, good evening. My name is Bobby LeBlanc. I'm a business owner in Terrebonne Parish. My family has been involved in the C-store tobacco industry for nearly 40 years. I myself have been involved in all aspects of the industry for over 25 years. I've been selling Kratom for nearly 12 years, consuming it for around 7. I'm here on behalf of not just our stores, but many of stores and consumers as well. It really saddens me to know that I have to stand here before this council and speak about why we are trying to ban something that is helping the lives of millions of people around the world. But I want to thank you all for giving us this opportunity, because I think Kratom debate has much been needed in our state. Kratom is a plant that sits in the same family as the coffee plant. So if we consider banning Kratom, we might want to consider banning coffee. We all know that would be devastating to Louisiana. Kratom is a wellness supplement that is taken in its pure, unadulterated form. And I want to reiterate that unadulterated form has been known to really heal the body. I'm with you guys 1,000%. Removing any products, not just Kratom, that are adulterated, that have a serious effect on the human life. But when it comes to unadulterated kratom, we need to listen. Listen to the data, the science, the personal testimonials, and not just jump to conclusion for whatever the reason may be. I get it, we all concerned. But this product is a blessing. My wife suffers from a severe Baker cyst in the back of her knee. The doctors have drained it, shot it with cortisone, even tried to remove it. Nothing's working. The cyst needs to be coming back, and it is a very horrible experience for her. The only thing we found to keep it under control is kratom. All I can say is what a miracle. Myself started taking kratom because I had a hard time drinking coffee. Until this day, I still cannot drink coffee unless I take apple cider vinegar pills because it makes me extremely sick. Kratom has become a great alternative to my cup of coffee, and look, I do enjoy coffee. But it's simple. Kratom has been around for a long time, and just like anything, can be adulterated. Let's talk about the hemp CBD products that are in the market right now that are very scary. I tried a hemp gummy a couple months back that is state legal for the state. And I thought my life just ended. I freaked out. I had bugs crawling in me. I thought I was done. A very, very bad experience. Kratom never done that. We all know there are many products on the market that have a very big question about them. Back in the days when many thins and synthetics, products being laced with tenapate. Heck, we just had House Bill 382, tenapate, with a product called Zasa. Should have been banned. Products made with cocoa powder you can snort. It's called Coco Loco. But are we looking at these products? I can keep going on, but as a retailer, I'm always concerned about what will be the next product on the market. We ban kratom, not only this will become an underground adulterated product, but it will attract more products of concern. I've been in this business for a long time. If kratom was so bad, why am I standing here today? Why do I have people thanking me constantly for helping a natural product, helping keep a natural product alive? Why haven't I had one of my customers in 12 years come to me and tell me that kratom has destroyed their life? Why? Because it won't happen. Unless they had another substance like fentanyl in their body. Fentanyl is serious. We all know it's dangerous. We have an organization like the AK that's been big.
Your time is up.
I just wanted to state real quick, we got an organization like the AKA that we need to support.
Your time is up.
And I get it. Thank you. I'll send this for
James Martin.
My name is James Martin. I'm a resident of Louisiana. Just come here to get kratom banned. Got a little. I stay at the Life House because I was in active addiction. When kratom first came out, he's told you could buy it at the local stores. I heard it was just like heroin. I went to the store and bought some because I didn't have any heroin and found out it was just like heroin, but worse because of the legality and availability of it. The dealers never ran out. It stayed on. I stayed on it for 2 years. If I couldn't find heroin, I did kratom. I robbed at least 20 people to get kratom, 5 of whom I robbed at gunpoint just to get some kratom, something that was sold over the counter. The high lasts longer than heroin. The worst part about it was that there were young kids doing it, waiting outside the stores for us to buy it for them. Parents don't think anything of it because they sell it at local stores and it is natural. But all it does is further your addiction. I've done a lot of things to get kratom. Kratom led me to overdoses, hospital stays. Couldn't escape it. Wherever I went, it was sold. I couldn't get away from it. There are displays at stores, 2-for-1 deals. Drug dealers, at least you could hide from, and they don't have flashing displays in your face with it, 2-for-1 deals. I've lost 3 people to kratom. You can take too much and die from kratom. It comes with instructions on the bag. It will tell you how much to take. You can look on the internet and see how strong it is. I wish someone would outlaw it because it's leading 16 to 17-year-old kids to heroin and worse drugs. If you were asked a lot of heroin addicts these days how they ended up on heroin, they would say kratom. A detox from kratom is just like heroin detox with the pain, shakes, and sweating for about 5 days. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kerry Villar.
Hi, my name is Carrie Villar. I live in Ascension Parish. I go to the Church of Santa Mo, and I mentor at the Lifehouse Women. Today, this is very humiliating to stand up here. You've already heard my fiance speak. Kratom completely ruined our life. He had been clean for almost 2 years from opiates, was doing great, walked into a gas station, saw that they had kratom. It was, promoting that it relieved pain, gave energy. The moment he swallowed that one pill, I know that something changed in him. I saw a difference in 2 weeks. I started asking him, are you back on opiates? Bought at-home drug test because I didn't believe him because of the what I had seen was exactly like he was whenever he was on opiates. I think what it was the familiar feeling. It was exactly like he had taken a Loratab. He lied to me one time, told me that they were some kind of rip fuel or something. So I had bought Kratom Test myself. I took one. I felt like I took a Loratab. I asked him, we were going down the road, I said, oh my God, my hair is standing up on the back of my neck, my arms are tingling, I don't feel right. He said, I cannot believe you took one, you really took one? I said, well, yeah, because I'm gonna take the drug test to see if I fail it. It was absolutely, I can't even explain it, but what I wanna address today is the psychological aspects. And by the way, the guy in the store on the corner store, he even told me that he took it, and he said, I don't know how they take that stuff. He would notice Clayton went to rehab 5 times, 5 detoxes, and 3 rehabs in the last 2 years, less than 2 years because of Kratom. $60,000 in 1 year to Kratom. That corner store owner knew when he was in rehab. I would go there, and he would know that he was in rehab, obviously because he wasn't getting the same money that he had gotten before. But the psychological aspect was the worst. He was in a state of psychosis often. He was not a violent person before. If he didn't have his Kratom, he went legit berserk. I've watched him detox. The detoxes were absolutely insane. Sweats, shakes, profusely vomiting. But it was the fact that he could just go down the store and relieve these symptoms. It was not a problem just to go down the store and relieve them. Pawn shops, quick cashes, can't even tell you how many he had. He is now in Lifehouse because Kratom has completely ruined both mine and his. We should have been married. We should be having kids by now. But instead, I'm on my own, and he's trying to get his life back together. It's absolutely no different from opiates. I don't care what anybody says to support it. It is literally deadly, and it is life-changing. There's absolutely nothing that it should not be on the market at all. There's nothing that anyone can tell me that because I've seen it. And not only, I had to go get on antipsychotics because of dealing with him.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Jeffrey Laredo.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, good evening. My name is Jeffrey Laredo. I'm an expert in addiction and related public health policy. And for 30 years, I worked for you. I retired from the Federal Civil Service in 2018. My entire career focused on addiction and mental health. And for 14 years, I was a senior policy advisor to the director of the National Institute on Drug Abuse, NIDA. Tonight, I'm here representing the American Kratom Association. At NIDA, I focused on a variety of science, policy, and communications issues and was also the Institute's liaison with the U.S. Congress. Believe me, I understand the pressures that you are under as you struggle to address drug use and addiction issues, especially the current crisis of opioid use, addiction, and overdose. I was also deeply involved in the Kratom issue. All of the things that you've heard about the federal agencies working on and arguing about from 2016 onward, I was at all of those tables. I'm here today to urge you to take a leadership role on Kratom, as you've talked about in this parish, in Louisiana. To do that, your work should not be based on opinion. I would also suggest it not be based on the old, discredited so-called drug war approaches to public health policy. Rely on science and what we know. I'm sure you want your work to focus on evidence and truth. And if you do this, you will not only not ban Kratom sales and use in the parish, you'll help foster solid regulations to protect public health. You've all received a lot of information from us, I know that, and I want to thank you for your consideration of it. I'm not going to stand here and review all of what you've already seen. It's been frustrating to see the avalanche of mis- and disinformation that's out there about Kratom, and I'm available to you tonight and at any time to talk about any issues you'd like to discuss. We're asking you to help your constituents by ensuring that safe, unadulterated Kratom is available and appropriately regulated. This is the key to so much of the discussion that's out there. Without regulation, and despite the AKA's best efforts, there are many adulterated products on the market, and I think you're hearing about that tonight. All of the stories you hear, and the published scientific studies and the toxicology reports bear this out. It is adulterated products that are causing harm and heartache, real harm and real heartache. Pure Kratom is not the cause of these problems. We know that any problems attributed to Kratom have been due to adulterated impure products and/or polysubstance use. We know that the FDA is wrong on the science. We know what the studies have said about this, and we know that even the Drug Enforcement Administration has changed its tune on this. So let me make one final point. You've heard and will hear some who claim that Kratom killed a relative or friend. This is all tragic. It's awful. And we've heard the FDA talk about this. The HHS secretary has definitively said that this isn't true because the science says it's not true. NIDA says it's not true. The overwhelming scientific evidence says it's not true. And that's why the federal government and the United Nations on an international scale haven't banned or scheduled Kratom. So I'm telling you, as I stand before you today, and thank you for welcoming me, that you have an opportunity to support public health. Thank you so much.
Matt Luno.
Good evening. My name is Matt Luno. I work for the Lifehouse. I am a recovered drug addict of 27 years. Kratom. A lot of people stand here and say it's not addicting, but I work in recovery, and I see the many men that come through, and I hear the stories about how their life was affected by Kratom, the disasters that it's caused them, the family breakups that it's caused, and then the addiction itself. We've got men there that are willing to go back to jail over it. They're willing to be homeless over it. They tell me the addiction is so strong that they can't do without it. When I got addicted to opiates, at that time they told me it wasn't addicting, that Oxycontin was the cure-all drug. Well, now Kratom is supposedly the cure-all drug that will relieve all kind of pains and stuff. But I'd like to ask these people that sell it and distribute it, would they give it to their family? Would they give it to their children? Kratom is addicting, and I see the dangers of it. I see the addictionness of it. And I would like for it to be banned in Ascension Parish, St. James Parish, Louisiana. I also work in Alabama, which Kratom is an illegal substance there. It's dangerous, and I'd like it to be taken off the market.
Thank you, sir. Kerry Kimbrough.
Hi, everyone. Appreciate the opportunity. I'm really sorry to hear about everyone's bad experience with Kratom. And I think that's important for us to talk about. I've been using Kratom for about 9 years, off and on. I've been able to quit it several times with just minor symptoms similar to caffeine, like a caffeine withdrawal. And I started using it because I was a petroleum inspector, driving from plant to plant to plant all along the river, up and down, day and night on an on-call schedule, which is very brutal and unnatural for somebody to have to work. And I started using it because I heard it could give me energy when caffeine didn't work for me anymore. I started using it and I was able to stay awake to drive from plant to plant. And that's helped me a lot. And I did have some close calls where I was falling asleep at the wheel, having to work 24, 36 hours sometimes. And I think one of the things about the deaths and the fentanyl, I think that may be an issue of a lack of regulation. And I think there are about 8 states that have passed a Kratom Consumer Protection Act, and that requires manufacturers and vendors to meet certain quality standards and provide their own third-party lab testing, and to have everything accurately labeled and the alkaloid contents on the bag or bottle. And that makes for a much safer product. And I don't know if the extracts, I don't know much about the extracts, but I just use the basic leaves and the crushed up leaves, and I don't think I've ever spent more than about $100 every couple months. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Brian Vadreen.
Good evening. My name is Brian Bedream. I'm a resident of Louisiana. I came here to talk about my son Daniel. He was a 26-year-old father of two young boys that he loved very much. Daniel died at 2:30 a.m. on Friday, February 21st, 2021, at his home in Iberia Parish. Autopsy stated that the cause of death was acute migraine toxicity. This was caused by his use of kratom. Daniel was purchasing this kratom at a local gas station. He was clueless to the dangers of this stuff. When his mom and I would confront him on his use, he stated, "It is fine, it's just a plant." After Daniel's death, I returned to the gas station and I questioned the clerk about this kratom stuff. He told me it was no good, you don't need that stuff. His use would cause a roller coaster of emotions. I've seen anger, depression, crying, and happy times. Toward the end, he was hiding his usage from his wife, who could see what kratom was doing to her husband. It amazes me how the number of convenience stores that carry this poison is advertising with kratom banners and lighted signs. Please take the lead and be the first parish in our state to ban this stuff to prevent other parents from losing a child. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Taylor Martin.
Hi, my name is Taylor Martin. Thank you all for having me tonight. I'm a mental health counselor from the state of Louisiana, and firsthand seeing how kratom, the leaf of the coffee plant, and a leaf from the coffee family, has helped a lot of people, a lot of my clients, and a lot of your constituents recover from opioid abuse, alcohol abuse, anxiety and depression. Some of them also, it's alleviated their suicidal ideation, which is, a main goal of us trying to treat them. Some people may say, what is so helpful about people taking kratom as a replacement for opioids or opiates or alcohol? And my response to that is, we can't treat them as mental health professionals if they're dead. And medications such as methadone, Suboxone, and Subutex, sometimes they're not easy to access. They're much harder to taper off of, and they do cause much more respiratory depression. Kratom, on the other hand, is cost-effective and available to everyone. As stated before, we just need to have some regulations to ensure that these products are safe. We need to make sure that they're not being sold to children and adolescents, and we also need to make sure that each package has a certificate of analysis on it, a QR code that shows exactly what is in the package that has been tested by a laboratory. The LD50 of a substance, which is the lethal dose at which 50% of the population who take that substance will die, for kratom, the LD50 is around 477 milligrams per kilogram of mitragynine. So this is the most abundant chemical in the kratom plant. This means that a 150-pound person would have to consume 32 grams of pure mitragynine or 5.5 pounds of dried kratom leaf to have a 50% chance of dying. The individual would have to try to harm themselves. This is some of the science. You can look this up, Google Scholar, kratom LD50 or mitragynine LD50. I feel that if we are to ban kratom, what it's going to do is the same thing that happened where through prohibition of marijuana, all this spice and K2 started popping up. I feel that what's going to happen with watching drug trends is people are going to powderize green tea and they're going to put fentanyl in it. They're going to put synthetic opioids that are very harmful in there. So we want to try to avoid that at all costs. I urge you, as stated before, we need to develop a Kratom Consumer Protection Act that protects all kratom consumers in the state of Louisiana. And other states have done this before us, and we can just follow their lead. We can make sure all these products are safe for everyone. Thank you.
Erin Stanchfield.
Good evening. I'm Erin Stanchfield. I am the director of Lifehouse for Women in Gonzales. I recently went to Arise for Wellness Ascension Parish, which was trying to fight against, as a parish, mental illness and addiction. I feel like that our parish, our state is in an epidemic of hopelessness, which then is in an epidemic of addiction. And kratom is right there with it. My 12-year-old son can walk into a gas station and get kratom. A lot of people are feeling hopeless right now. It's very easy and accessible to get, and I'm asking that it is banned completely from our parish. If we are in the business of helping mental awareness and addiction in our parish, which I know that we are with that Arise Mental Awareness Addiction deal that we had just a month ago. I feel like we need to go ahead and just hone in on this and get it out of there so that we can continue to live in an amazing, beautiful parish that is fighting against this hopelessness and addiction. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Todd Touye.
Good evening, Council. My name is Todd Touye. I'm a member of the Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office for 27 years, and I'm a lifelong resident of Ascension Parish. I'm not from California, as some of our special guests have come with the American Kratom Association, who stands to lose hundreds of millions of dollars if kratom is continued to be outlawed. It is outlawed in 31 countries, 6 states, and multiple counties and cities nationwide in the United States alone, okay? There's great things that you hear about kratom. I'm not here to argue that it's not. Then there's the other side of the argument, which is the addiction side of it, okay? I'm not here to argue that. What I'm here to say is they talk about adulterated and unadulterated kratom, okay? They talk about it comes from the same plant as the coffee. You're absolutely right. It does come from the same type of plant as coffee. But guess what? Since 1959, only 100 people have died from caffeine. 91 people died in 2021 alone from kratom, excluding any other substances, according to NIH and all these ones. The thing that the American Kratom Association likes to tout is they're paying these researchers, they're paying these doctors. So of course they're going to agree with them because they're getting paid to do that, okay? I try to find independent resources. I see it on the other side of the spectrum. One thing I do find in common, they all agree it has addictive qualities. The AKA says low, the others say high, okay? The sheriff and myself have had many discussions about this. We don't want to criminalize the individuals for kratom use. We just want to see it not sold in the stores here in our parish, okay? Some type of regulation needs to be done. How do you know which pack you're getting off the shelf is adulterated and unadulterated? Let's quit allowing the sales in our parish and let those who choose to use it do the research, order it online, or go to another parish and get it, that they can get their unadulterated kratom form, which I'm not going to argue it doesn't have benefits, okay? But I'm going to say what's being sold at a convenience store and a smoke shop, if I got an illness, that's not a place I'm going for help for medical issues, all right? And I would like for y'all to take a poll of how many people here speaking today are from Ascension Parish instead of out of our parish to try to tell us what to do here. Let's take the moral high ground, and I have seen it in my time with the sheriff's office, the rise of kratom use amongst individuals in place of heroin because it's cheaper, they can't get their hand on it, and we're also starting to see where the drug dealers are starting to sell kratom as heroin, and yes, of course, they're putting the popular fentanyl in it, okay? So thank y'all for y'all time. I know y'all got a lot. I will not be able to be here for the next meeting, but there is a few more things that I would like to email y'all. And again, y'all have a blessed day, and God bless y'all.
Thank you, sir. I'll read some names of folks who are opposed but did not wish to speak. Neil Burtonot, Seth Dickey, and Allison. They're opposed to us banning it. Opposed to the motion. Allison, is it April? And the following people are in favor or in supporting the regulation of kratom, but they did not wish to speak. Colby Broussard, is it Merritt, Hintel, Garrett, Vizinat, Megan Smith, Deborah Klain, Kearney Domain, Vicky Broussard, Cody Broussard, Kim Touye, Justin Landry, and Cindy Stern. And there's one other one who did not wish to speak, who was opposed to us banning it. It was Brian Francesca. Okay? That concludes that discussion. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate your comments. Moving along to item E, introduction of an ordinance to amend the Ascension Parish Code of Ordinance, Chapter 15, Parks and Recreation, to add Section 3, mobile food units, food trucks in Ascension Parish.
Motion to introduce.
Motion is introduced by Chase. Item F, introduction of an ordinance to create a road infrastructure district designated as Parish of Ascension Road Infrastructure District number IDD 2022-01, Windermere Crossing, pursuant to the Ascension Parish Unified Land Development Code, LDC, Appendix 4, Subdivision Regulations, Section 17-4011, approval of final plat, procedure, F, Infrastructure Development District.
Motion to introduce.
Motion to introduce. And I just wanted to let you know that anytime we have a road infrastructure district, we have to conduct a public hearing as part of the introduction.
Motion to open public hearing.
Motion by Councilwoman Casso to open public hearing. Second by Councilman Robert. Motion to close the public hearing by
Second.
Councilman Robert, second by Councilwoman Casso. Okay, item H. Introduction of an ordinance to create a road infrastructure district, RID, designated as Parish of Ascension Infrastructure District, Road Infrastructure District, number IDD 2022-02, Windsor Park, pursuant to the Ascension Parish Unified Land Development Code, LDC, Appendix 4, Subdivision Regulations, Section 17-4011, approval of final plat, procedure F, Infrastructure Development District. Who's that?
Wags down.
Mike stepped out? Motion to introduce. Michael stepped out. Motion to open the public hearing.
So, second.
Moved by Dempsey to open the public hearing, second by Terry. Motion to close the public hearing by Councilman Robert, second by Dow Wagasback. Moving along, item J, introduction of an ordinance to amend the Ascension Parish Code of Ordinances, Chapter 19, Roads, Bridges, and Other Public Ways, Article 2, Road Lighting Districts, Section 19-20, Road Lighting District Number 1, to clarify the legal boundary description and expand the boundary to encompass an adjacent area. Motion to introduce by Coach. Item K, introduction of an ordinance to amend the Ascension Parish Code of Ordinances, Chapter 19, Roads, Bridges, and Other Public Ways, Article 2, Road Lighting District, Section 19-21, Road Lighting District Number 2, to clarify the legal boundary description and encompass an adjacent area. Motion introduced by Coach. Item 12, executive session. Item A, employee appeal of disciplinary action. Need a motion to go into public executive session. Motion by Chase, second by Dow. Go into public. Go into executive session. We call a vote, Madam Secretary.
Councilman Thomas.
Yes.
Councilman Robert. Councilman Turner. Yes. Councilman Orgeron.
He's gone.
Councilman Lambert.
Yes.
Councilman Lawson.
Yes.
Councilman Wagasback.
Yes.
Councilman Mason.
Yes.
Councilwoman Casso.
Yes.
Chairman Caglialotti.
Yes. We're in executive session. Chase, second by Terry. We don't need a vote, do we?
Yes,
We do?
Yeah.
Roll call vote.
So we have to have a motion.
you need a motion and a roll call.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Chair will entertain a motion regarding this incident.
Wait,
This
you
action?
need, I'm sorry, you need a motion to reconvene. Coach made a motion.
I did
We
that
made
already.
one.
We did
Yeah, we did that. Motion to reconvene. Then what? Need a motion on the? I'm sorry? Motion to overturn. A motion to overturn from Travis, second by Coach.
I object.
You got an objection? Roll call vote, Madam Secretary.
Councilman Thomas, this is a motion, you voting on the motion to overturn. So, yes? Yes. Councilman Robert? Yes. Councilman Turner?
Yes.
Councilman Lambert?
Yes.
Councilman Molossaw?
No.
Councilman Wagisback?
Yes.
Councilman Mason?
No.
Councilwoman Casso?
No.
Chairman Cavalati?
No.
4 nays, 5 yeas.
Okay, the motion carried. Item B. Motion by Michael, to go into executive session, second by Dow. Roll call vote.
Councilman Thomas to go into executive session. Yes. Councilman Robert. Yes. Councilman Turner. Yes. Councilman Lambert.
Yes.
Councilman Molossaw.
Yes.
Councilman Wagisback.
Yep.
Councilman Mason.
Yep.
Councilwoman Casso.
Yes.
Chairman Cavalati.
Yes, incidentally, this is Shane Anderson and Nicole Anderson versus the Parish of Ascension, docket number 130.709, Division B, 23rd JD of Ascension, State of Louisiana.
good, doing good. Well, I was gonna do the rescue money stuff, but y'all, the rescue money, the resolution. Oh, no. So I didn't have to get up.